The future for Indian basketball is really bright. It's not that we're lacking of talent, but I think lacking of visibility and funding. Full of academics in my family. I'm like the only sports person. My dad's a professor and I am Bangalore.
Amazing, how cool.
Mom's a chartered accountant. And my grandfather was a lawyer. I could never live up to their standards. My parents are 5'5", 5'4". And I'm like,
Wow. Then you of course went to the US for the university. How was that experience?
The first thing I struggled with was understanding the accent.
Of course.
And also certain things I needed to, break habit, like eating with my hands, because that's looked as unhygienic.
There's a lot of chatter around mental wellness, mental conditioning, etc. Have you embarked on that journey yourself?
When I was in US, there was COVID there for 3 years. Flights back to India were also shut. So there was a lot of isolation, but I had to be mentally tough to not give up. And also journaling, everything, I think, plays a big role.
Today I have with me Sanjana Ramesh. Sanjana is a basketball player from Bangalore and has represented India and Karnataka across multiple tournaments. I'll be chatting with her on her journey as an athlete and what shaped her career as a professional sports person. Listen in. Hi Sanjana, thanks for coming to the Blue Rising Podcast. Really looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Sanjana, directly jumping into the questions. How did you get into basketball? Tell us your journey.
So initially, I was always an outdoorsy person.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of different sports growing up. I played badminton.
Where did you grow up? Can you talk about that as well?
I grew up technically in Bangalore.
Yeah.
I was born in Chennai, but my family moved and relocated. My dad's a professor and I am Bangalore.
Amazing, how cool.
So that environment really helped me become a sports person because there are a lot of different facilities available.
Were you living in Bangalore?
Yeah,
of course. Amazing facilities.
Amazing facilities,
Yes,
swimming
yes.
pool, everything.
Yeah.
And I got to compete and play with all the faculties,
Yes.
students, and it was very good environment for me.
Yeah.
So I used to play a lot of football, badminton, tennis, never basketball though. I only started that in middle school when I tried out for my team, and it was actually pure luck.
Yeah.
I just tried out for the team. I basically ran with the ball, and the coach was like, why don't you pick up basketball? So that's how the whole thing started.
And when was it that you decided that it's no longer a hobby and it's going to be a profession?
So I think I was around 15 and I drastically improved in the sport in 2 years. And a lot of
Was that the same time that you shot up in your height? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people didn't expect that because my parents are like 5'5", 5'4", and I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. But my brother is also tall, so I think it is like grandparents.
Did your brother also play the sport?
He played football.
Football.
But full of academics in my family. I'm like the only sports person who's accomplished.
I will chat more about it because that would have been like some decision, but go on. Yes.
And so basically like when I was 15, I started growing and a lot of people said there's a chance I could play for India.
Yeah.
And I became a very versatile athletic player. So then, and I saw this girl in the newspaper saying she went to US and she did all that. So I really considered maybe I want to play for the Indian team. Maybe I want to do different things and take it up as a career.
Amazing. And how did you break into the national team? When did that happen? How was your first experience like?
Yeah, it was amazing. I never played in India for India before.
Yeah.
And
so your direct entry was into the national seniors team? So no.
Okay. U16.
Okay.
So
U16.
when I was 16, this was my first Indian camp. And everyone else had already attended like 3-4 camps because I'm new. I've not been in the basketball circle, but a lot of others have already played for India in that age. So I was the first Indian camp. And I also was the captain of the team actually.
Amazing.
So it was a very beautiful experience and that was my first India.
And where did that camp happen? In Bangalore?
It happened in Bhavnagar and then in Bangalore. And then the championship was also in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So it was very fun.
And how did you, going back to the academics question, given that, your family comes with the background of academics, how did you balance it out? What were the key decisions? How did you weigh in your options, etc.?
Again, family full of academics. My dad's a professor, mom's a chartered accountant, and my grandfather was a lawyer. My brother became a lawyer as well. So they always had very high aspirations for me academically.
But how were you academically? Were you?
I was pretty average. I could never live up to their standards, especially because my brother and I were in the same school.
Yeah.
So, and he was a genius in the school. And anytime I would go to the next class, his teachers would recognize me and they'd be like, "Oh, you're Savitrin's sister," and they would have the aspirations. But I was just a pretty average student.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, my mom was very supportive, and she always told me that it's okay if I didn't do the best, as long as I did something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And my dad was similarly that way.
And then you, of course, went to the US and for the university. How was that experience?
I mean, it was amazing. I've been wanting to do that for 2 years. And a lot of people kind of discouraged me. And it was almost impossible because no one's done that before.
Yeah.
But once I got there, it was a whole nother level, a whole nother experience. Facilities were great. And I also had to play through COVID for the last 3 years. So that was a new experience as well. But overall, amazing.
What are the major cultural changes that you had to go through?
I think the first thing I struggled with was understanding the accent.
Of course.
But also other people understanding what I'm saying. So it felt very hard for me to adjust. And also certain things I needed to, break habit, like eating with my hands, because that's looked as unhygienic in US.
Especially during the COVID, maybe.
Yes, especially during COVID. So those are some of the cultural things, getting that bond with everyone. But athletically, I think physicality was the biggest issue, because in India, strength and conditioning is not as focused on, but there they started at a really young age. So I really had to work towards that there.
And you were only the second Indian female basketball player to get into NCAA Division I, right? Yeah. So what does that achievement mean to you and for girls back in India?
I mean, it means everything, especially when so many people told me it's impossible. And then
why do you think they said that?
I mean, it's not done before, right? So a lot of people will say it's impossible. Even I might have felt that way in that time. But somewhere inside, I just knew I could get it done if I just look at all the options. And NB Academy came in, and I took full advantage of that opportunity. Spoke to the coaches, made an impression, a connection, and they knew I wanted to get there, so they helped me, talk to the coaches in US. So that's how I got there.
Yeah, and talking about you representing both Karnataka and the Indian teams, how is it different? A state team versus national team. Are there any differences, if any?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing for the national team, the level of basketball is obviously much higher, and also there's a sense of maybe calmness when I play for the national team, because everyone is so skilled, and it's a team where we've stayed together for 3 months. We eat together, we all stay in the same place. So you build that bond, a family bond. And when we play on the court, it feels just like that. So when I play for the Indian team, there's a lot of coordination, a lot of teamwork, and there's a lot of, as I said, calmness. We all know our role and we play our role. Playing for Karnataka, I love it. But there is a little pressure, because since I played for the national team, there's a lot of expectations on your shoulders. And there's no role for me specifically. I do everything. And it gets pretty tiring, but it also challenges me to improve individually.
Great. And growing up, when you decided to play basketball for a living, if I may, there would have been questions, because first of all, basketball is not the top 3 sports in the country right now, and that too, I think the women's version of basketball may not be. So how do you navigate those questions? Maybe you also had the same questions in your head. What was that whole journey like? What were the key decision-making parameters?
I mean, truthfully, I never looked at it like that. I just was so passionate about the sport, and I just wanted to play it. I mean, I do see that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I realized, okay, maybe there are other sports that get more funding, that get more recognition, get more, visibility, everything. But with basketball, I feel I've always thought if someone needs to start to make the sport become better. And I think I've done that as a trendsetter, going to US. I'm trying to go overseas and play. And there's so many opportunities now that's growing in basketball. There's going to be a league next year. And they've got a lot of foreign coaches. So it might not look like it's changing, but over time, little by little, it's getting bigger, and hopefully it'll be a top 3 sport in India.
And what was your parents' role in your journey? I'm sure they've made a lot of sacrifices, really backed you, but would love to know more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to my mom. I didn't realize I trained like a professional
Yeah.
when I was 14, but I really did.
Yeah.
And she would take me to every single practice, would take care of my nutrition. She would even talk to nutritionists about what can I do to help her,
Yeah.
gain more muscle and stuff. And I never knew that from the side, but I see it now. She would take me to like practices at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And I never thought it was practice. I just thought it was fun time. So I did that. She would take me to school. And then after school, I would stay back for school practice. And then after that, she would take me to the club back and practice there as well. And, in the night, if I was tired, she would also like help massage my legs, everything. And she really took care of my whole career from like 14 till like, till I had to go to US.
It was incredible that they did it because they wouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
How do you think they conditioned themselves to do it? Like someone must have given them that.
Actually, it came naturally to her. She kind of set an example to all the other parents, I think. And they created their own parents like reunion thing.
Amazing.
And like every time my mom would go, she would call all the other parents as well.
Yeah.
And she would do stuff where they all wear blue color because our jersey colors were blue.
Yeah.
Blue shirts. I don't think she like was told to do these things.
Yeah.
It just came naturally to her.
Amazing. And growing up as a girl athlete, it has its own challenges in a country like India, infrastructure, safety, etc.
Yeah.
So can you talk about some of the challenges that you face and how you overcame them?
Yeah, I mean, I think firstly, girls get criticized a lot more.
Yeah,
than boys do.
absolutely.
Not
Yes.
only in terms of the game style,
Yes.
but also your body. I've always been a lean muscle athlete,
Yeah.
so I've always faced those type of criticisms growing up. But I always let my game speak for itself.
Yeah.
So I was very confident with that. In terms of facilities and opportunities, obviously the men's Indian team or the men's side of the sport get a lot more opportunity, a lot more visibility as well. But any opportunity I can get, I really push for it. In social media, talking to coaches, and there's also an advantage because when you do something really great, like people lift you up because they want women to succeed.
Yes.
So I really take advantage of that. If I do something really well, like I put my 100% into it.
Absolutely. And can you remember some defining moments from your career, which really made you work double as hard because you thought, this is the right time to like really push yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't say funny. I mean, I think it could have been more anxious times.
Yes.
Because again, as a lean athlete, a lot of people would like, body shame me a lot.
Yeah.
And I would go to the gym and I would lift and try to get all these muscles. And I would try to do that. And then I realized from my strength and conditioning coach that everyone has different body types. I may be lean, but that doesn't mean I'm not strong.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of effort into strength and conditioning. And I eventually saw that explosiveness, that strength on the sport. So even if someone looks way bigger than me, I can like really, keep up with them in terms of the weight. So yeah.
Yeah, and in like in any part of life, even an athlete's life has ups and downs, right? And every person has his own way of dealing with that. So can you talk about some of those examples or anecdotes where you've been on a low end of the curve and you've really worked hard out of it?
Yeah. This actually was in US. Actually, even before India, I had torn my ACL.
Yeah.
And that was actually really heartbreaking because I was at the
And you had to undergo surgery?
Yeah,
Oh.
I did. And I was at the highest point of my career. I played U16 India, I captained the team. I was going to play U18 India and also captain the team as the coach was expecting me. And I just got the scholarship as well.
Yeah.
So mentally, I didn't know if I'd ever play the same way again.
Yeah.
But with the support system I had, like I just slowly started playing basketball and got better.
How long were you out of action?
A year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Especially because I didn't know what rehab meant.
Yeah.
So it took me a little longer, but eventually once I got back to the sport, I played the same way.
So talking about rehab and all of that, do you think there's enough sports science recommendation or advice available to athletes growing up in India right now?
I don't think so. I think a lot of senior athletes do because they face the injuries and they become like, the mentors and all this. But like not from the sports science side of it. I do think it can be a lot better.
Yeah. So what would your advice to young athletes be when it comes to sports science, nutrition, physiology? What would your advice be?
I mean, I think you should take it very seriously.
Yeah.
It's not only about the sport and the skill you can develop, but like good sleep, nutrition, strength and conditioning, they play a huge role in your game. And if you get your fundamentals down, everything else will come easily for you later.
And what about balancing out the academics and the sport? Like, because see, we've seen enough examples of athletes who don't make it, and then they don't have a fallback option. So, what's your suggestion would be?
I mean, a lot of people compromise maybe the sport for academics or compromise academics for the sport. But why don't you just do both?
But how easy or difficult is it?
It is very difficult, absolutely, but it's not impossible. When I went to US, I had to maybe sacrifice maybe social time or like some of my me time, but I did really well academically and I could balance my sporting life as well. So it is possible, but it's also a lot of mental toughness and a lot of sacrifices.
And how important are role models in all of this? Like, did you have good role models, and how would you suggest people to pick right role models, especially in a sporting journey?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hard. I've always looked at role models in people that I want something in myself. So, I mean, growing up, I looked up to Coach Anita Polderai, Sheba Magan, and but I realized that actually role models for me were people just around me. And if there's something that someone did, I would try to keep that with myself. So even if like my first senior India camp, there was this one athlete who would just come in and train extra hard. And I looked at her as a role model and I wanted that quality. So I worked extra hard. So Anita Polderai was so strong, had 5 surgeries on her knees and like would still be so mentally tough. And I looked at that. So I just pick something I really want for myself from other people and look at that as a role model.
And basketball, we all have grown up watching NBA and it's a very TV friendly sport for sure. But what do you think would give to, make Indian basketball also popular? I think the league you spoke about sounds good, but is there anything that, TV broadcasters can do or anything the federation can do to make it more audience friendly, right?
I think like obviously right now all the games are scheduled on YouTube. Maybe having it in like a channel on TV, also putting it on different like maybe Geo Hotstar, how they have cricket. Something like that would really boost the ratings of basketball because it's not that we're lacking of talent, but I think lacking of visibility and funding. So stuff like that could really help with improvement.
And today, if some young girls' parents come and ask you that, we really get inspired by what you do and we would love for them to become a international player. What is the path? For badminton, the path is pretty clear. You play these state tournaments, you get ranking. So how do you see that changing?
I mean, basketball is very different that way. You can play for the state, you can play for the national and in India. It's really hard. There's a lot of steps in between.
Because an individual sport like tennis and badminton, you just enroll in the tournaments, you get points and you move ahead. So,
but like basketball is a team sport as well. So you have to shine among 12 players and also play a team game. You cannot be selfish.
But are there selection camps for state level? Okay.
So we have basically we have clubs in, for example, Bangalore. We have clubs. I think other states have districts. So you enroll into a club and then you play for the team. If you play well in the state level championship, the selectors will be watching all the tournaments and then they select top 20 to try out for the Karnataka team. And then from there, top 12 make the team and then you play in the national championship. And again, the same process goes around and it's like top 20 from all the teams and then make it to top 12.
And what are the elite international tournaments that our Indian team participates in?
So the women's team participates in FIBA Asia Cup, Asian Games, and even Sabah Championship, which was recent. The men's, however, have a lot more tournaments, a lot more exposure. They go to a lot of exposure games in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and they play world qualifier games. So they have a lot more games every year, but we have games maybe once, like few times every 2 years. So,
And what are your immediate goals and long-term goals as a player?
So my immediate goals right now is to get really healthy, get really fit. I actually had typhoid a few weeks ago, so I'm trying to recover from that and just get back in shape. And also build my social media awareness because I realized that it plays a huge role.
Huge role.
And I could really build basketball from that aspect as well. My long-term goals, however, is to play overseas, play in leagues outside. And also, if there's a league in India, I want to promote that. That would be my priority. And I really want to boost that league, make that the Premier League if possible. And yeah, and eventually, hopefully, WNBA. That's what I want to get to.
Amazing. I'm sure you'll get there. And what role? So I think there's a lot of chatter around, just the mental wellness, mental conditioning, etc. How important is that? And have you embarked on that journey yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. As much as you're training, hard work, consistency, being mentally tough is a very big aspect. So when I was in US and there was COVID there for 3 years, a lot of things shut down, and flights back to India were also shut. So there was a lot of isolation, and there was a lot of lack of food also in a way. I couldn't go to a grocery store if I had COVID, and I didn't have a lot of support system as well. So my physical performance nutrition had to go down here and there. But I had to be mentally tough to not give up. Even when there's a lack of support system, by talking to people, talking to sports psychologists, it's very important. And also journaling, everything I think plays a big role.
Yeah. And you mentioned, about awareness through your social media, but many years later, when you're no longer playing actively, do you see yourself take up a broader role in the basketball ecosystem and just making it better for the country?
Yeah, absolutely. I've already looked at career options afterwards, and I want to start that from now itself. Building my social media presence so I can look into broadcasting or interviewing up and coming talent. I've already mentored. I'm still mentoring a lot of the young athletes coming in, and it's really exciting. The future for Indian basketball is really bright.
Yeah, probably the last question from my side.
Yes.
What does success mean to you today, and how that definition has changed from when you were just a young girl playing at school level?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a young girl, I always had a lot of outside validation, and maybe success in terms of achieving something was what I looked at. And if I wanted to play for India, I wanted to make sure the coaches really appreciated my hard work, and that was success to me. But over time, I think it has changed to what I view as success, how physically fit I feel, what I'm doing best for myself. It's no longer a competition with other people, but what I view as good. And I'm very tough on myself, so it's very I set really high standards as well. So success to me is if I'm healthy mentally, physically, and I'm achieving something different, and I'm trying to get as high as possible.
Amazing. Thanks, Sanjana. Thanks for coming over to the show, and wishing you all the luck and success in future. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.